First question of the Lions nickel package. I'm really starting to like this. This is a personal thing for me. This guy, I think he's going to be a great player, and he's going to be around with the Lions where they're drafting in the first round. How much would a linebacker in the first round freak out this fan base?
Would it?
I'll say this. There have been strides made. Wherever we're at our draft party that day, I don't think Braylon will walk out of the show. I don't think the camera will be ISO'd on me for 30 seconds with a stunned look of disbelief on my face.
That shit was hilarious.
We are to the point that, and I'm glad you asked this question, Spenny, because I want to start this public service to all the Lions fans out there. We are officially at the point. Did we reach the goal last year? No, we did not. It was Super Bowl or bust. We did not. However, this is still a good football team. And good football teams are not at a point where they are at the mercy of drafting for need. The Lions are not drafting for need. You may think they are, but they are not. And with that being said, everybody, I am team best player available. That's where I am. I have no specific target, Sean.
I love hearing you say that. One of my greatest pet peeves is when people lose their mind 28 picks into the draft. Because honest to God, Neal, I sit back and go, I don't know if you know this, and I don't want to be condescending, but did you know that there's a second round? And then it's crazy. Now, hold on. Wait, there's more. There's a third round.
No, Sean.
No. KG, listen.
You bullshitting.
Okay, you ready to have your mind blown?
Yeah.
You didn't think I was going to go here, did you?
I didn't.
There's a 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round.
Whoa!
It drives me out of my mind. Like, are you new to this? When did you start watching?
Yeah.
It drives me out of my mind. Neal, to your point, okay? Right now, this is off. Can we all agree it'd be great to get ourselves a big old D lineman or a big old edge, right? Right? Can we all say that?
Sure.
One or the other. I'm not going to argue with any of you, okay? Do you know how many there are in that range where the Lions are picking? Like, just a little homework. Just go do a little homework. Yeah. That range between 28 and 60 has so many D linemen and so many edge players that if by some chance they grab a guy because he is the BPA, Neal, I'm 1,000% with you. Now, if we get to the 7th round and you didn't address that, all bets are off. But, Neal, I have no problem with BPA. I don't. I have no problem with BPA.
That's my point on it. Like, Jihad Campbell, this guy is going to be a fucking freak in the NFL. He's going to be a game breaker. You look, he fits all of the Brad Holmes, like, salivation chart grades. Like, he went to Alabama. He's a freak. He flies around the field. He can do multiple different things. He can rush the passer as well as defend on the run, as well as guard in pass coverage. He's going to freak out everybody at the combine. His RAS scores are going to be off the charts. Yeah. He's going to be right around there at 28. And I think the defensive ends and interior defensive linemen, you can get at 28. The drop-off from those guys to the guys that you could get at that same position in their second pick isn't that big. And I expect Jihad Campbell to be one of the best players out of this draft.
I can see it.
Second down, Spenny.
Second down, second question of the Lions nickel package. Is re-signing Carlton Davis a must? He was on a very strangely situated podcast. Like, it was really weird how they were sitting.
These streamers, man.
Yeah, it was really weird how they were sitting in the podcast. But he was glowing about Dan Campbell, saying he's one of his favorite coach he's ever played for, and just talking about how he does things and how much he loves that man. So, is bringing back Carlton Davis a must for this team?
You got 20 more million.
You tend to think so. What's that?
I say you got 20 more million. Where are you putting it? I feel like it's mandatory now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of leaning that way. I mean, am I gonna? It all comes down to the numbers game, man. It just does, and I know that's not very hot takey, or that's not probably what the people want to hear. But again, is he gonna work with it? Because I do think that you have a group of guys that want to be around each other and that want to be a part of that group. And Carlton Davis, all these guys, it's podcast season for NFL guys, and they're all over the place right now. I do like the vibes, but yeah, a must sign, I don't know about that. I'm not at all costs like a Myles Garrett trade situation a lot of people are with. But with that being said, he's pretty up there in terms of importance.
Well, and that's another thing. I mean, Neal, we've come to the day and age in the National Football League where I don't think people are shocked at this one anymore. You go collect cornerbacks. They'll get a cornerback. You know it. I know it. Maybe multiple. You never know how that works itself out. And I think he'll be back. I think being the key and operative word. But again, this is a credit line type of thing. I'll go ahead and take a big leap of faith with Brad on a situation like that.
And this is why you should be happy. Go ahead, Neal. My bad.
Just for reference sake, Spot Track has him at a market value of about $14 million per year. They project him 3 years, $41.5 million.
Yeah, but no, this is why you should be happy that he is going on podcast speaking so glowingly of a Dan Campbell. That means he loves the situation here, and you just never know. The negotiation process, he might be able to give a little bit because he likes the situation, because he likes the people that he, plays with, and I think it could go a long way. He might be able to look out for you on the back end, if you catch my drift, so.
No doubt. Next down.
And happy birthday to Alan Trammell. Alan Trammell's birthday.
Hey.
Legend. So happy birthday to the legend Alan Trammell. Next question for the Lions. Will this be a top 5 offense next year? I know everybody's scared because Ben Johnson left.
Yeah, top 5's aggressive. Again, sorry if I don't think that a guy's going to show up on day one of the job and be running at optimum efficiency. There is going to be a feeling out. They're just, Sean, don't do this, all right? I see the look on your face. Don't do this to me. Okay, nobody walks in and hits the ground running at day one of a new job. They don't. And I'm not saying they suck. I'm not saying they stink. In the end, like Jared Goff's numbers will be about what Jared Goff's numbers have proven to be over the last couple of seasons. In the end, people will get around where they are, but it might take a second to get. Is that fair, Sean? Am I aligned?
That's why I'm giving you the look. Because as sure as we're sitting here, what is it? So February 21st. Is that today? I just want to make sure I get the date right, okay?
Yes.
Correct.
All right. We are all going to be sitting in this room in late September being bombed by people talking about what the hell happened to the Lions offense. Now we see what Ben Johnson did. Neal Rhul, you're a ghoul. I mean, all that, we're going to go through that whole shit again. And it's like, wait. Haven't we graduated? The ultimate success or failure with the Detroit Lions is not going to be what happens in the third fucking week of September. It's going to be, where is this at in January? And yes, into February. So it might take a little bit longer to get going, but when you have the weaponry that they have, those weapons are going to get going.
I don't think it's crazy to think they can be top 5 again, though, because
eventually
the coaches aren't on the field, the players are, and we are loaded on offense. We have all the horses in the barn. You got top 10 people at receiver, quarterback, running back, so I don't see much of a drop-off. Now, it could happen, but I'm not arguing that they could be top 5 again.
Eventually, but I think and Neal, you tell me if I'm wrong, I think what you're sending off, the vibe you're sending off is it's going to take time to build to that crescendo. That there is some newness here. There is some familiarity that needs to be established. So eventually we'll get there. I just don't think it's going to happen right away. I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying that, Neal.
Okay, good. I wanted to make sure about that because I don't want to come off as a hater.
Fuck that. This is the top 3 offense in the NFL next year. John Morton will hit the ground running because he's been there. He knows it. He was in the room with Ben Johnson, with Jared Goff, when the play sheets were being written, when the scribes of this offense were being etched into the side of Ford Field. John Morton was there, and he did hit the ground running. His only 1 year in the New York Jets system as the offensive coordinator, where he was being sabotaged because he wasn't allowed to build his staff. Those were guys that wanted that job, and they were all mad he got it. He went in there, career best yards, touchdowns for multiple different guys. Jermaine Kearse, Robbie Anderson, Josh McCown, fucking Bilal Powell. He had those guys putting up career years. What's he going to do with Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff, James Williams, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Pettis? Top 3 offense.
Talk your shit, Speed.
So right away, then,
Right away.
Smitty? Right away?
Right away.
First game, we're 48?
First game, 25 plus.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't try and come in and change the fucking wheel, the wheel of this team is running the football. You have a great backfield, great offensive line. You have a quarterback that can complete any pass on the field. Don't come here trying to fucking, change what's already working.
They might not be a top 5 offense in the history of the NFL like they were last year, but they'll be a top 3 offense in the league next year.
Okay, there it is. Hey, Spenny, there it is. Yeah, okay. You knew. Spenny knew exactly where we're going with that. Next down.
All right, next down, next question of the Lions nickel package. Over under 19.5 sacks for Aiden Hutchinson next season.
Sean, that's aggressive.
You got that right. It's aggressive, and we're going over. Hutch comeback player of the year. Give me 20 even.
Hutch D-boy, baby, let's go.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sean, I got to hear your take. I feel like that's aggressive to expect.
Very.
I'm not going there. Under.
I know I'm a hater, right? I'm sorry.
You
Detroit,
might be, Neal.
I'm sorry. I'm a hater.
Yeah, no, he would. He could have hit 20 maybe if he had to stay healthy.
25 this year.
God damn. Yeah, no, I'm good. We got.
Do you know what I want? I honest to God, I hope that he gets under. I hope and I pray he gets under. And I'm serious. You know why? Because I want people to focus on him and unleash the guys around him. That's what I want. I want people to be so uber focused, like we saw with Ndamukong Suh. I want people to be so uber focused on him that all of a sudden a Cliff Averill shows himself. You know what I mean? Neal, that's what I want that more than anything.
Spenny, can I do this one? I'm going to do this one like you, Spenny. Okay. Jonesy says the under because Myles Garrett will get 22.
Hell yeah!
Yeah!
Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Sean, you okay?
You all right, Sean?
All of a sudden, the volume went out. I apologize. I tried to keep it off the air, but the volume went out, so I apologize for that. That little technical difficulties with the headphones, Neal. So.
No, you're fine. We'll go to the next one. What is Myles Garrett's worst landing spot? What situation would scare you the most?
For me, him going to Chicago. For real, him going to Chicago would scare me a lot. And it just because what if Ben Johnson touches the left shoulder of Caleb Williams? What if he does it? What if he lays his hands upon Caleb Williams and touches his left shoulder, and then all of a sudden Caleb Williams again?
That's Neal's greatest nightmare.
Also too,
Caleb Williams being good.
And then not only that, I'm saying that to kind of get a couple of ha-has and he-he's. But what if he ends up in Chicago? Because I feel like Chicago has the most ground to cover in order to be like a challenger in this division. Because we saw Minnesota, be good on paper last year. Everybody's always fearful of Jordan Love, and I think if you put Myles Garrett in that mix in Chicago, that he's just another piece that they'll have. They've already spent a ton of money on their defense. That does scare me to some degree. I'm not going to lie. It scares me to some degree.
Neal, I don't blame you because they got a GM that's willing to spend the money and probably trade the picks. He is not afraid to do that. So,
Sean, what's your worst landing spot for Myles Garrett?
Well, fuck the Bears, but let me get that. I just feels good coming off my chest. Gosh. That's a tough one to say. Honestly, that's a tough one to say because I'm at the point where I've convinced myself that he's coming here, and I don't know if that's good news. Honestly, this is where.
I'm with you, Sean.
No, yeah. I usually call out others for being slaps and thinking that Neal. Honestly, I've convinced myself he's coming here, and I'm not afraid to throw the 2 first rounders at him. I'm not. I still think our brains have been so beaten down over the course of our lifetimes that you hear 2 first rounders and we go, gasp, and you forget that it's pick 30 and pick 32 and pick 29, whatever the case may be in that area. So I've convinced myself. I would hate for him to go to one of our, I guess, the teams that are standing in our way yet.
NFC
because
North.
Yeah, there's a few teams that are standing in our way. Not so much out of the NFC North though. All jokes aside, I think there are a few teams in the NFC proper that are standing in our way, and that would hurt. That would hurt my soul. That would hurt my soul.
No, go ahead, Spain.
I was because that's what it is for me. It is by far, no doubt in my mind, the Philadelphia Eagles are the scariest situation for him, and they would Howie Roseman's a fucking wizard. He would do something to make that work and to get that to happen. And I think that Brad Holmes, that would be worse than him missing out on Myles Garrett would be if he goes to the Eagles. Brad Holmes cannot allow that to happen. He has to tell Cleveland after he gets off the phone with them, if that motherfucker Howie Roseman calls you and you're making a deal with him, whatever he's going to give you, I will beat that. So make sure after you get off the phone with Howie Roseman, if you're going to trade him Myles Garrett, call me and I'll give you a better deal. He cannot allow that to happen.
I'm glad you guys are picking up what I'm feeding up because my greatest fear is to be sitting there on the NFC Championship Sunday watching Myles Garrett light us up.
Right.
Like that might be it.
Because mine is the Commanders. I'm in the boat with y'all. If y'all give a young upstart team who has already beaten us, who we may see in the future in the playoffs, y'all give them a Myles Garrett, I wouldn't like that at all because I feel like that'll come back to bite us.
Somebody in the chat, by the way, asked a question. Neal, what do the Eagles look like? It comes from James. What cap space do the Eagles have? They're about middle of the road. I think they're 12th in available cap space. Something crazy. 12.5 million or something like that.
He's been awesome.
13.5 million in cap space.
Neal, he's been awesome. I mean, give that guy his flowers.
He's the best GM in sports.
Like really, he's been unbelievable.
No, absolutely. No, you guys are 100% right. And they got moves they can make too to get more. Like they could cut Slay and get more cap space as well. And they got the
23 million coming in.
Yep. So absolutely.
Yeah, you cannot
Steve,
allow that
maybe
to happen.
Neal, I think the worst case scenario would be for Myles Garrett to go to the Commanders. Yeah, that would suck too. That would definitely suck too.
I think Kansas City, that wouldn't be the worst case scenario for the Lions, but that would be the worst case scenario for NFL fans. If he goes to Kansas City and say, oh, well, there's another Super Bowl for Patrick Mahomes. Like, fuck